Okay, so what I want to do, I want to make a quick body. And I think if you look on my YouTube channel, you will find other ways to make bodies. I think I've done a couple different ways, and I thought I should share this weird one with you because it's kind of simple. Okay, I'm going to go to the front view. When I'm in the front view, I've gone and made this character, so it's going to be, I don't know how many heads high. I can go down here and do this, and then I can go duplicate, put my head up here, and shift D, 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 D. Okay. And what have I got? That's 7 heads tall. That's pretty tall. I might go and get rid of that one and say 6. Okay, just kind of guess roughly where I want my character to be. And I should have maybe some concept art behind here, but I don't. Just doing it, man. Just doing it. Okay, so I've got this going up, the axis here. Maybe one other thing I want to do in my display, I'm just going to go to grid, because I make everything kind of life-size there, or try to. You'll see the grid acts kind of funny, and I noticed that I like 200. Grid line every 10 units, and subdivisions, 1. And when I hit apply, now it kind of looks normal, and I'm modeling at a fairly large size. Okay, so now, to get a quick, crazy body. Get a quick, crazy body with me. If I go to Mesh Tools, and I'm just going to get the Create Polygon tool and the Append to Polygon tool, make sure they're on my shelf. I use the Create Polygon tool, and let's zoom. Actually, I don't want to zoom in too much because otherwise I'll lose my proportions. We'll still have to adjust things as I go. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to start with kind of the shoulder area. Okay, enter. And actually, this isn't really a shoulder area. Shoulder's going to be right over here. Now I can use the append, and maybe I'll append here, and I'm just going to hold down X when I append there and there. And then I can middle click and move that up a little bit. Okay, so we're getting that part of the chest. I'm just going to hit G. Now we're going to do the shoulder. Okay, that's a pretty big shoulder for Wonder Woman, but we'll see what happens. Then I'm going to work my way down here, and let's just hold down X again. There. And I'll hit G. I put something out here like this, and G. So we're at the waist, and I'll go down here. X. X is just snapping to the grid as I'm placing it, and when I hit G, okay, and then maybe down here I will hit the crotch area, and I can let go of X, and let's see, line down here, that should be fine, and then what I might do, I'm just going to hit G again, and let's go in. And I'm going to make a nasty little N-gon for a second. Okay, we'll fix that afterwards. And actually, let's just go and quickly adjust something here. Actually, I made a nasty N-gon. 5-side is there. I don't know if I like that. Well, we'll work on it in a second. I'll come back to it because I got to fix a couple things in here. Append. And now I'm going to work my way down here, and this will be the thigh. His body's getting way out of proportion. I've got to come back and adjust to it afterwards. Whoop. That's why it's nice to have a reference image of some kind, but I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants just to kind of quickly whip it out. There. Then I'll hit G. Now I'm getting down to kind of the ankle-y area. Okay. And we're getting down to the foot. And I'll kind of put it something like this, and I'll hit enter. And I should be concentrating a bit more, but there's something like this. That should be good. Okay, leg. And let's just go and tweak a few of these things, because this just doesn't look nice. Okay, good enough. And then I'm going to get my append. Let's append this way. Okay, G. Got an arm out here, right around the elbow area, and then getting into the brachialis area here, the widest part. And again, my proportions are looking crazy whack job. Okay, maybe I should make the head bigger. That's a fast way. That's a good cheat. But then I lose my life-size proportions. Okay, so there's my body here, and maybe I'm just going to move my. Let's scale it. I'll just move it up. See how that looks. Yeah, it's beginning to look a little bit better. Maybe my proportions are going to be a bit wacky, but And I got that extra long leg. Okay. Great. And I could make my arm a little bit smaller and things like that. Maybe have one more append this way. Okay, great. My arm just looks way too big. I'm just going to grab my scale tool. I'm just going to move it, holding down D, move it over here, and then I can scale it down and get something that looks a bit more proportional. Okay, cool. So when her arm comes down, the hand is somewhere down here. Okay, and one more thing to quickly fix. Right here, I kind of was not looking at this correctly. If I go and I get my multi-cut tool, I'm going to cut from here to here. Okay, and I'll cut from here to here. And then, let's see, if I take this one and I just kind of cut my way up here, that will look better. And if I just go and hold down Control, when I hold down Control, I get all the way down there. Remember, for a full list of all the hotkeys for this tool, if you just double-click on it and you go down here, keyboard, mouse, shortcuts, woohoo! Okay, maybe I should make a new video on these little tricks and stuff like that here. Anyway, I'm good. And let's get that out of here. Oh! And there we go. I've got kind of a body. And then, if I take this thing, let's delete the history. Looks a little thin, don't you think? We should feed her some food. If I go in and I hit extrude, what is it? Control E on my keyboard will give me extrude. And I'm going to kind of go out to kind of one of the wider points, I think. Okay, and then I can take this arm here and maybe just grab some of these vertices, and I'll grow my selection. And let's just scale these back a little bit so they look thinner. Yes, like that. And let's just hold down Shift, and I'll grab the rest of this here and maybe deselect this area. And that shoulder's looking a bit too big there. And I can slowly start to manipulate all my polys so that, see, if I take all these, I'm just going to use my scale tool in a second here. Actually, let's grab that. Scale these back so they look thinner. Maybe in this case here, what if I went and I just took my just edge loop tool, and then I can take these and bring them back and kind of get a better shape. Okay, and I could flip to my side view and start to pull some of these points around. But you see that I've got a body really, really quickly. I want to make the leg a bit bent. Okay, and I'll push this back a little bit to help with that bend. Grab my scaly tool, scale this in. Okay, so I'm getting somewhere. Also, to these faces on the inside here, if I just quickly, what time are we at? 8 minutes? Okay, good. There to there, and I'll just hit delete. Okay. I don't know if I like that. Let's just grab that edge and grab the scale tool and bring that in so the crotch looks a bit more normal. The butt, I'm going to have to pull that out. And I might end up taking all this into ZBrush and sculpting, getting a better result out of it. Also here for the faces on the feet, if I just grab these, I want to get a foot. I just got to keep remembering to use this trick here. Okay, so I'd give her big feet. There's big feet on that woman. Yeah, she'll kick me. I gotta stay in line, otherwise I'll get kicked. Okay, and just pull that over this way a little bit, and then I'll go in, I'll grab those faces there, and Control E, extrude again, and I'll just scale those down a bit. Make sure the foot is flat on the ground. Okay, and then I can probably use my insert edge loop. I should probably pop that on my shelf. I still like the insert edge loop tool because there's a few things it does that the multi-cut tool doesn't do. Like, for instance, you can I can use it over and over again. I can do that with the multi-cut tool, but there's that one feature when you have to flip to the move tool. But when you go over here and you start playing around, the insert with edge flow is pretty handy sometimes. Okay, so I got a foot. and got a body. If I want to, I should probably pop in a few more edge loops. One I can pop in is right through the middle here. Okay, and probably pop one through here. That makes it so I can kind of give that shoulder a bit more shape. Pop in a few in here so that I can deform these areas nicely. And let's see, later on we're going to try to put a breast in here. Okay, and this area here has to be worked. The waist doesn't look quite right. And remember, we're going for kind of superhero proportions, so don't be offended by the things that I'm doing. Giving her this really tiny waist and everything. Okay. And I think I'll try to move that back a little bit. Actually, no, I'm going to move her head forward. If I just do this really quick. There, and I'll attach that afterwards. Okay, cool. Got that working. Maybe if I want to round out some of these too, just hold on a second. Let's turn off B. Double click, double click, double click, and double click. And if I quickly grab these and I can scale those in and I can get kind of an arm shape. There. Okay, so that worked out, and I should shape the arm, but I think I'm going to save that for when I go over to ZBrush. Okay, and a hand. And again, I've got videos on other ways to do hands. I swear by...
Why aren't you letting me select that face?
I swear by the method where I go in and I model the finger first and join all my fingers and build the hand out. That's like one of the best ways of doing it. But just because I was sitting around and thinking, well, if I make the body like what I just did, and also too just on edge loops, pop a loop, 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 pop loop. Okay. Pop loop. Okay, gotta fix the butt and everything like that. Okay, so what is it? This is taking me like 12 minutes talking my way through it. Okay, so let's do the same approach for the hand. That arm just looks ridiculous. Okay, and so if I went in and I got my Create Polygon tool and I made a finger, so I'll make a finger. We're going to go for the middle finger. I always find the middle finger is the kind of the easiest one to really make first. And I can use my insert edge loop and it's going to divide there and there. Okay, remember that should be the biggest section, middle section, that should be the shortest.
What was I thinking?
That's a pretty long finger. Okay, whatever. And then after I've made this, let's just hit, I need center pivot on my shelf. Modify, center pivot. Okay, and I'm just going to hit D and move the pivot point down here. Actually, I might pop in a couple more loops. I'm going to pop a loop here for making it bend, and that one. And I feel like this should come up this way a little bit. Okay. Anyway, I take this and I make a quick duplicate. This little finger is going to go over here, back a bit, and rotate it. Do the same thing over here. Scale it down. There's my little pinky. Okay. And then Control D over here. Rotate this into place, make it smaller. Okay, take all these pieces and I'm just going to go and hit Mesh Combine and delete the history. I'm just going to grab these vertices here and I'm just going to merge them. Okay, great. And I just realized I need another loop here, probably at the base. Something like that. Okay, so those are all joined together. And then I can go in here and grab this edge to this edge. Oh, it doesn't want to do that. I have to select them one at a time. It's probably because that weird point right there. Anyway, if I go and I do that, and then I extrude the edge, and I quickly move it down this way, and maybe I'll kind of flatten it a little bit. Okay, and I'll hit G, repeat the last tool command, and I'll kind of come down this way. I can probably scale it in a wee bit. And do that a wee bit too. Okay, and then I can probably just pop a loop right in here. And actually, that loop, combined with that one, Okay, great. And that's my hand. I think I'm going to probably just rip off one of my fingers and use that for a thumb afterwards, but there's your basic hand. If I go and I give it a quick extrude, make sure you're grabbing faces, and Control E, and I'll pull this up. Actually, if I'm being sneaky while I'm pulling it up, I'm just going to switch to the manipulator tool. And when I'm pulling it up, I'll pull it up a bit more than what I think it should be. And then I'm just going to switch to the rotate portion, see how this works. And I'll just move that down. Okay, so that's not too bad. And now you'll see that if I take this, what else? Do I want to make a fingernail in here? If I hit 3, this kind of gives you a quick idea of what the hand is going to look like here. There's problems with this, but this is silly simple, right? Silly simple. Let's get rid of this face, all the way over to this face. Whoop. If I want to make fingernails, I just grab these things here, the fingernails, and if I go in and I hit extrude, so Control E, and I'll just scale them down slightly and I'll push them in a wee bit. And I'll just hit G, repeat the last tool command. I'm going to bring them up. And then I'm just going to switch from this to my rotate portion of the tool. And then I'll just grab this face, this one, and this one. I'm just going to hit Control E. And there's kind of a cheap fingernail. Okay. So everything's kind of roughly in the right spot. I feel like I could probably put another edge loop in here, and actually it's not doing too bad, I guess. Actually no, I'm not going to do that. Let's leave that out. Let's not get crazy. Okay, so I got this hand looking like this. Just delete my history, and it looks good when it's smooth, or looks okay. If I go up to mesh and I hit smooth, now I got a whole schwack of polygons to mess with. And I could go in here and let's take this. I'm going to make a quick duplicate, center me pivots, and have my move tool on. And this one here, I'm just going to go in and I'll grab some faces, delete those, delete the rest. And I can take this thing and change it into my thumb. It looks like a really bad thumb. Okay, this is just bad. But it gives you the idea I could do this really stinking quick. And move this down here, get it somewhere right. Okay. Rotator that puppy off this way a little bit. And again, I'm probably going to need to do some sculpting on this and whatever. And this one here now has 8 sections on it. When I smoothed it, that gave it 8. And if I take this and I say, well, let's get rid of this face. There. And if I take these two objects and I go and mesh, combine, what time we at? 18-minute mark. Okay, then I can take this edge loop and that edge loop, and I can go in here and hit it with a bridge.
You little trolls, get off of my bridge.
Okay, and then I can go in here and I can grab some vertices right in this area, and let's just see what happens if I hit edit mesh and I hit average vertices and I hit G a few times. Maybe I scale this in, pull it this way, and I'm just going to hit G a bunch of times. Okay, I'm going to have to sculpt that and make it work a bit better. That thumb looks like I had a bad day hitchhiking. Draw selection. Whoop. And no one hitchhikes anymore. No. What happened? Okay, and actually I can maybe even do things like just grab the move tool, put on the soft selection, and start to move some of these areas around and get kind of a more organic looking hand. Oh. Right now my move tool looks like my soft selection. I like it when it's on surface. Okay, so that it doesn't grab the geometry behind. Anyway, oh god. Okay, well, I'll come back to that. And I'll get... God, that looks horrible. The thumb looks very large, too. This is what happens when you do it without reference. You start winging it, and things just get a little out of hand. Okay. And I'm just going to line up my hand so it's lining up with the wrist. Top view, front view. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. And it looks like there's a lot of geometry on this one, but not that much on this one. I could probably take this thing and hit it with a smooth as well. And then, to join these two things up, if I take a look, what do we got here? Edges. Now let's turn off soft selection. If I go here to display, heads up display, poly count, I could count them one by one if I wanted to. It says 80. That's wrong. That's because I've got the smooth on. If I hit 1, I've got 20 on this one. And on this one, I've got 16. So I've got to find a quick way to reduce some geometry. And if I just do this, and I'm going to collapse that edge. And I'll collapse these right to about there. Do the same thing here. Boop, boop, boop. Take that and delete it. And I'll take right there. I'll go up to about the same place. Here. Take that and delete it. Those are quads. Let's check out how many polys we got now. That's 16. Doesn't seem right. Okay, but they seem reduced. Okay. And then if I go in and... I really freaking hate that. When I take these two pieces here and I go in, let's delete the history. Let's go to combine. And then I can go here to this edge, and I'll just hit bridge. And if I go into bridge offset, I think that looks pretty good. This area here, again, when we go sculpting, it'll fix it. But there I have a body that's all together, and it doesn't have too bad of a geometry flow. Okay, still got some issues. Let's just get rid of the history. And then I can take this thing and let's do a quick mirror. So when I go down here, if I hold down shift when I do it, there's my mirror options. And smoothing angle, blah, 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 world, -X, mirror, boink. Okay, and I can mirror it. The merge threshold is quite low, good. Actually, I'm just going to undo. And I can change those proportions afterwards. What was I just going to do? Oh, the breast. And that'll finish off this whole thing. So I'm looking in this area. And if I go here to create sphere, and I'm just going to pop the sphere up into here. And I'm just going to put on wireframe unshaded. Okay. And I'm looking for a section, I'm going to say right there. Okay, let's make it a bit bigger. Okay, and then I'm going to go and hold down J. Okay. And I'm going to go in and reduce the geometry on this. We'll go 16 by 16. And I still see there's a lot of geometry in the height, so I'm going to reduce that. Let's go down to, say, how about 9? Okay, we can adjust this and... actually, I'm going to move this over a wee bit. Just going to get rid of some faces here. Get rid of that. Because we got 16 by 16, we can also get rid of any problems here we're going to have with this pole. And so if I just take these, whoop, delete them, and then I get my multi-cut tool, and I'll multi-cut from here to here, here to here, and there to there, and there to there, and that's better. Okay. To attach it on, we just got to look here, and what do we want to do? We want to find that spot. If I go in and I'll grab a vertice that's kind of centered, and I think it's this one. And then I'll just do a quick faces to faces. I'm just going to grow my selection. And there's 4 by 4 by 4 by 4, which is 16. And if I go and I delete that, then I grab these two pieces and I go mesh, combine, and then, okay, this is going to look really bad, but it gives me more or less the flow that I want. Take that edge there, that one there, bridge. And then I've got to work this area. Let's go in to vertices, And if I go to average vertices and I just hit G a few times, we start to get it blending in, but we've still got a lot of work to do. But there is a body, and actually, what does this look like when I go and I mirror it? Just do the edit, duplicate special. Perfect. What, am I on the right angle? I am. Okay, let's just get rid of that. Freeze the transformations. And actually, I'll just do that stupid thing where I just mirrored it so we can take a look. And we do need to do a lot of work after this. But this is giving me a rough body that I can start to play with and do some styling with. And I'm going to stop the video here.